Good Wednesday morning. You're watching the Kaiser Report with John here, coming to you today with some news. And I apologize for yesterday's broadcast. I didn't realize that the audio was compromised yesterday, and it was a little hard to hear. We've got that straightened out and fixed in the studio here, and it was just a broken wire, but it's taken care of. So in today's news, we're going to talk about several things. I guess what's on everybody's mind is what took place yesterday in New Hampshire with the election process there. And as you probably have heard, unless you've been in a coma, that Donald Trump has won New Hampshire as well. You wouldn't know that when you turned on the news last night and listened to Nikki Haley acting like that she won. This woman did the same thing in Iowa. It was like, well, she's declaring herself a winner, and she is vowed now to fight on and keep battling against Trump, going to her home state of South Carolina, where Trump in the polls shows that he is ahead. She is I watched her supposedly exit speech yesterday from New Hampshire, which turned into a full-blown campaign speech, but refused to believe the fact that he's beaten her there by double digits. I think it was 11% when it was all said and done. But to listen to her last night in her arrogance, acting like she's won the state and she's got all this backing and all of this money that she is committed to staying in the race in TV ads and probably most of them misinformation ads that she likes to go out and push around. But the level of arrogance from her, watching her speech last night, all dressed up and ready to celebrate her win, was remarkably telling of what a deep state politician looks like. Don't look over here at the truth, because we want you to look over here and listen to us. One of those type of things. We know that she is heavily funded by BlackRock and other organizations and George Soros-backed people. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in her home state, but I would think that if you lose your home state in a primary, you're finished. She's not going to accept that. She's going to want to go all the way. For what reason, I don't know, other than the fact that she's being bolstered by leftist organizations as well as being pushed by the GOP in some cases. Ronna McDaniels needs to go. Now today comes out in the news that they're after Carrie Lake, offered her money to go away and let the person running against her be the one to run. Not another dime will ever come from me to the GOP ever again. I got to tell you that. And unless and until we find out who's making the East Coast phone call out to Arizona to dabble in their politics, I'd like to know the answer to that. And I think that Ronna McDaniels needs to come out and tell us who did that. Glenn Beck was all over it this morning. If you watched any of his show or listened to any of his radio broadcasts, you would know what's really going on there. Second thing in the news is what's happening at the border. The influx at the border continues to happen. The courts have asked Texas to stand down as far as stopping the influx. They've also told or ordered the razor wire cut away. So how does the White House press secretary come out and say we're in full control of the border and that President Biden is doing everything possible to get control and it's all the Republicans' fault? Well, she is a liar and a half, and I'm sure that she has to be the liar in chief and told to say what's what. However, you don't close the border by cutting off the wire, opening the fences, and saying, come on in, which is what we're doing. My God, how does anyone in the vision believe this? We have 10 to 11 million people and another 500,000 waiting to get in, which brings us to the next segment of the story. The UN budget comes out today, and they have over $1 billion earmarked for aid to these border crashers. And then on top of that, the Red Cross is providing through these other countries where these people are coming from maps to tell them which routes to take to get to our southern border. If you're making donations to the Red Cross and we are supporting the UN, the lion's share of money that supports the UN comes from the United States. These other countries that are enjoying, being protected by the United Nations haven't paid their fair share since Trump made them. And that's back when. So they're encouraging more and more people to pour into this country. And if you have a porous border, I don't care if it's at the north or the south, and you have no vetting processes for these people to come in, you don't know who they are. They're emptying out their jails. They're emptying out their insane asylums, and they're sending people here. How long do you think it's going to be before we have a major catastrophe on our hands with these people? We're already giving them aid. We're already transporting people. Oh, yeah, in that $1 billion, there's a transport cost that's going to be covered. So again, our tax dollars that are going to the UN, which are being misused anyway, are now going to help the illegal aliens flood this country. A lot of us can trace our ancestries back to people who came in here as immigrants, and they did it legally, and they did it through Ellis Island and various places of that nature to where they gained entry. They went to work when they got here. They built the roads. They built the railroads. And let me tell you something, that was no easy task, but our immigrants did that. The immigrants that are coming in today want to know what they can get for free, and we are giving it to them. This republic cannot continue to be successful and be a bastion of the American dream that it once was, with open borders and porous situations that allow people of ill nature and illegally to enter this country and benefit from everything a citizen has a hard time to get. It's given to them. We have veterans that are living in the street and can't get a meal. And these people are being housed in nursing homes, hotels, and now high schools. So your child can't go to school because we're housing illegal aliens in there. God forbid they catch a cold. They were in tents, and I understand bad weather. A tent is not a place to be, but these people shouldn't be here. They should not be in New York City. They should not be in Chicago. They should not be in San Francisco. California is full. California is in real trouble. Financial, banking, real estate. Just listen to what's going on. It's not good. We need to wake up and we need to understand that we need to fix a few things here. And if a politician's asking you for money or a vote, I think you have every right in the world to say, what's your solutions to this problem, and this problem? And if they don't have an answer, don't give them a dime. It's just going to be more of the same. It's incredible that this border is so wide open. And the only people with a backbone is Governor Abbott down there, who decided to put the National Guard out, put the razor wire up, and it stopped them. Why is it that Joe Biden will not, in his clown administration, I mean, think about it. You have a Secretary of Health that's running around dressed up like a woman. And they make her an admiral, him, her, whatever. And you have a Secretary of Transportation that takes maternity leaves in the middle of a crisis. And he hasn't done anything since except spout Democratic rhetoric with the hopes of maybe garnering a new position or running again for something. I don't know what backs him up, but pictures of him floating around in a maternity bed with his husband. I mean, this is a clown show. This administration is a carnival act. I don't know how else to say it. There's nothing being accomplished that needs to be accomplished on the border, on the fuel situation. People in this cold snap buying oil for their oil furnaces or gas for their gas furnaces are getting hit with a bill next month that's going to be astronomical. And you watch what they're doing at the gas stations. He's taken the reserves, pushed them in to lower the prices to fool you. And today I went past the gas station that yesterday was at $2.69 a gallon, and today, magically, it's $1.99 a gallon. I'm sorry, $2.99 a gallon. So it's on its way the other way, up. We have people in this country right now living from paycheck to paycheck, those that are working and not on some program that allows them to work from, from doles that are sent out by, I don't know if it's welfare or otherwise, but they're getting money from somewhere. How else are they going to live? Unless they're living in mommy's basement, which is where most of these idiots that are running around with the Palestinian flags come out of. The other situation there is our universities. It's indoctrination at these universities. And then you find out that they teach anti-Semitism. And then another thing that you find out is that that they're pushing all these Marxist programs down these kids. And we get to pay $30,000, $40,000 a semester to these universities that need to be looked into. The football programs alone make them a fortune. And if we're funding through our government these universities, they need to be cut off. And these leftist professors with agendas with regard to Palestine, Ukraine, any of that nonsense does not belong in the educational system. But again, we have a Secretary of Education that doesn't know what they're doing either. Not to mention the fact we have a Secretary of Defense that goes AWOL, missing for days, and not spoken to anyone, with his underling on vacation in Puerto Rico. Do you see what's wrong with this picture? It's frightening when you stop and think about what's gone wrong in this country in the last 3.5 years. And if you don't see it, go on YouTube, read some books that people have published about what's gone wrong in this government, and we need to have somebody elected that can fix it. As I've told you in the past, I'm no huge Donald J. Trump fan. However, he's the only one that's making any sense right now that's talking to us, with the exception of Vivek Ramaswamy. If you listen to his acceptance speech last night in New Hampshire, well received. If you listen to Nikki Haley's, you would think that she's won because she doesn't know how to lay down. But let her go to South Carolina, where she thinks that she's a shoo-in, and maybe she'll be taught some lesson there about when it's time to fold them. I'm in fear of her getting elected, to tell you the truth. Because she's bought, she's paid for, and she's going to carry the banner for whoever controls her because of the money that she's accepted from organizations like BlackRock and Soros-backed people. Not to mention that the Democratic Party would love to have her run. Which brings me to the next thing about the upcoming election. If you think for a minute that Joe Biden is going to go all the way, my prediction to you is that by April, May, you're going to find out that he's going to back down, and they're going to insert in August at the convention either Michelle Obama or another soul that they can drag out and stick in place of the inept Joe Biden. Because they know if he runs against Trump, he can't win this time, unless there's a massive cheat somewhere. They know how to cheat. They know how to manipulate, and they know how to convince you that what you see is not what you see. And the other factor is, and I've said this before, is that Democrats on that side of the aisle know how to stick together, they know how to protect each other, and they know how to keep each other from getting impeached or any of that nonsense, while the Republicans fight among themselves, can't get along, and with a minute majority in Congress, can't get anything done. My God, you look at impeachments. They've been tried to impeach Trump twice on lies. Pure, out, unadulterated lies. And no one could back it up with any proof. And Adam Schiff, who said he had all the paperwork to come out, has nothing. And he's still running his mouth about Trump and about what a great job he did on impeachment. The person who needs to be impeached is half of that cabinet that sits there right now and the president that's sitting in the Oval Office. They have all the proof they need. What's the holdup? What are we afraid of in Congress and Senate? We're afraid of opening a door and looking into Pandora's box of lies. And God knows what will fall out of that. They're scared. This is why they can't tell you the truth. Sorry to be on a rant about that, but Nikki Haley really upset me last night to listen to her takeaway on New Hampshire, like that she won it. Oh, it was a grand party for her because she did so well. There's an 11-point difference. It wasn't a landslide in my estimation. However, you lose, you're conciliatory. You don't come out and act like you just won. Who does that? Who does that? Obviously, Nikki Haley does that. If whoever's advising her is at fault there, I'd say. All right, we talked about the UN budget and what's happening on the border. On a good note, I guess that Donald Trump is very happy with his win in both Iowa and New Hampshire, and vows to continue on down to South Carolina to bring his message down there. The message is clear, and its message is concise with regard to what the heck is going on, not only with the border, but with all of these hundreds of thousands of people we let in the country, unvetted, unvaccinated, unchecked, and gave them luxury accommodations to get to whatever city that they decided that their cell needs them in. And if you think for 1 minute that their terror cells have not been set up and waiting for that cell phone to trigger it, you're wrong. You're delusional. It's coming. It's going to happen, and we're going to get caught up in it, and you need to be prepared. And as I said in yesterday's broadcast, you better start to prep. You need to get foodstuffs into your pantries and on the shelves, as well as your antibiotics, your insulin, and whatever other medication that you require to live your life. Because when this is all shut down, remember, we don't make drugs here anymore. They're made in China, and some are made in India. So they cut that line. You want to go to war with China? You go try to get your medications. It's idiotic to think otherwise. Food right now is at a high point. We know that the cost of food is up. Cost of meat is up. But there are places you can go, get canned stuff, learn how to can. Appalachian Homestead on YouTube, this woman will teach you everything you need to know, including raising chickens, raising goats, whatever. If you have property, you can do this before they come and take your property away. They're looking for full control over you, me, and everybody else that they can make kowtow to their ideas and their stupidity. Because they want to control you. They want to control this country. They want to control your speech. And they want to control your thoughts. Thank God for this realm here where we can have a channel to let you know what's really going on. Stock up on things. Stock up on ammunition if you own guns, because you'll have to hunt. Get your meats. Learn how to can. If you have property, if you have a backyard, get a garden in this spring. Raise your vegetables and can them yourselves. It's not that hard. You can learn from several avenues on YouTube and various other books that have been written that you can go out and get easily to teach you these things. It wasn't that long ago that some of our ancestors had to do this on a daily basis or on a yearly basis. Fill up a cold cellar. If you have a fireplace in your house, get some coal laid away. Get some wood chopped and ready to heat your home. If they cut the power grid, you're going to need it. You're going to need to eat. You're going to need a bug-out kit in case you have to leave your home. Have a tent ready. Have the portable heaters that you can cook on. These things are all available. You can get everything you need at the Bass Pro Shop. And Ball, the people who make the jarring containers for putting up vegetables, has a wonderful book on how to can. These are things that can be done while you have time to do it. Don't wait for the explosion to happen, the grid to go down, and you're left high and dry. Your neighbor might have something to help you out with, but if you lay in enough to take care of yourself and maybe a neighbor, that's great. Do it because you're going to need it. It's coming. What else? We told you yesterday about the SEALs, so I'm not going to go back into that. 5 elite colleges accused of conspiring to limit financial aid will settle a suit for $104.5 million. The Washington Post isn't reporting the names of these institutions, but I can almost guess that there's quite a few of them that it'll have to come up with this $104.5 million in restitution. Thousands were trapped in a Gaza hospital while Israeli troops encircled Khan Yunis in the Gaza Strip. We all know, and you've been told this ad nauseum, Hamas and Hezbollah like to hide behind schools, hospitals, or underneath them, so you can't kill civilians to get them. That, in my mind, says that they don't care about the Palestinian population that they're part of. They just care about getting their job done, which is terrorism. And if you don't believe me, wait and see, because they are terror groups. The 3 H's over there are pushing buttons right now because they know we have a weak White House that will not retaliate. We're now going back after some of the Houthi rocket launchers and things of that nature and hitting a couple of them. But we're not going to the source of the problem. The source of the problem is one that they don't want to deal with because they just gave them the money to fund all this, and that's Iran. Iran is a threat in that entire region and keeps the terror groups supplied with what they need to wreak havoc. And they're doing a good job at it. But we know that we have an administration that doesn't want to upset or ruffle any feathers in Iran for some reason. Why? And if you all have comments on any of these things, please comment to me so I know your thoughts, and I'll repeat your thoughts. I'll talk to you about anything. So please make comments and let me know what you're thinking about these broadcasts. Kaiser and I would love to hear from you. So with that, we have some warm winter thaw happening right now. Today in East Tennessee, it's going to be in the 60s, almost spring-like. But the problem with that is it's also coming in with rain, and we have snow on the ground. So that snow melt and that ice melt and the rain, heavy rains that are coming tonight will mean some rather road flooding around here. And in most cases, that's not a good thing at all in the low-lying areas. But it's nice to have the thaw. I think we'll be back next week to more cold weather. And let's see if there's anything else. They're talking about billions of cicadas this year will emerge in the spring. And over the next decade. And the map clearly shows that it's eastern region, all the way up through the Appalachian region, up into New York. There's going to be an influx in cicadas this year that I guess the 7-year pop-up of them. Hopefully they won't bring in a nuisance bug to try and combat them like they do, or they did with the pine beetle. They brought us these Asian ladybugs that everybody is plagued with here. That nothing eats them. The birds won't even look at them. They're nuisance. They're a pest. And they didn't do what they were brought in to do. Between them and the stink bugs, it's a full-time vacuum job in your house anymore in the wintertime because they swarm and they come into every crack in your house to get to the warmth. And on healthcare issues, not much going on there. I don't hear any of these candidates talking about how they're going to approach the healthcare problems that we have here. We have hospitals that are now becoming conglomerates and monopolies, basically, buying up doctor offices, buying up smaller hospitals, putting their name on them, and forcing you to use their programs. Now they're fooling with insurance companies because if they don't like the deal that they were cut from Blue Cross or Blue Shield or Humana, any of these, they can just stop taking your insurance. So what does that leave you when you only have one hospital choice in an area? It doesn't leave you in a good position. You're at the mercy of administrators in a hospital, which are not doctors, and cost-cutting CEOs that or CFOs that want to, make more money for the hospital so they can buy more properties. And you're at risk. We all know that there's a nursing shortage. You know why there's a nursing shortage? Because of all the crap that happened during COVID. Do you know why there's a shortage of anybody to work on your car or to do construction work or any of that nonsense? Because we made it happen. This government made that happen. They can come out and tell you about job numbers and jobless numbers. They're all lies. Nobody wants to work anymore. It's not what it used to be. And we better get back to a work ethic if we're going to survive. Because this country was built on a work ethic that we no longer see in individuals that are going into these fields. Why they took shop classes out of the high schools is beyond me. And it continues with the woke education. Maybe is going to get handled. Maybe it's not. It's already done some damage to our young people. The fact that you have, I don't even want to go there. But healthcare is not what it used to be. You have hospitalists now. You have surgeons that are being controlled by insurance companies. You have insurance companies controlling your automobiles. where you can go and get insurance. In certain states, take California, for instance, try to get insurance, homeowners insurance in California. What used to be $1,000 a year is probably now 3 times that. If you listen to Dan and I, allegedly, he has all these people that are in real estate out there, and they're all saying the same thing. There is going to be more and more repossessions of homes, foreclosures on homes. It's happening. There are some people in homes in California, $1 million homes, that haven't made a mortgage payment in 3 years. And the forgiveness and, extensions and all of this stuff is worn out now. They don't have any more recourse. So, yes, the foreclosures are going to start. What do you think is going to happen to that economy? It's a sad state of affairs, and we need somebody to come in and straighten this out. And we need somebody to come in with a cabinet of real people with a resume of having business acumen to take care of the job that they're put in. Not like Hunter Biden getting put on the board of Burisma, not knowing what an oil can even look like. It's a hard road to hoe when you have an entire cabinet of fools unequipped to do the business that they were elected or appointed to do in that cabinet. So, yes, I'm listening to Donald Trump more and more. I'm listening to Vivek more and more. Because these two individuals know how to run a company, know how to run a business, and we already have a track record of Trump coming into office and doing what needed to be done and accomplished every campaign promise that he said. Where else can you find that? We have some good Congress people, don't get me wrong. But we also have a lot on the left side of the aisle that will run down every good idea that somebody carrying the Republican pin has. Marsha Blackburn, she's running for Senate again. I'm not sure that she's going to have very much running against her. I think that she does a good job. But one thing I would like to see taken away from political speeches and money raisers is abortion. Abortion is not a topic for politicians to making decisions on a woman's rights. Get that out of the political arena. We don't need it there. It's a decision that needs to be made state by state with a woman in mind and a woman's rights in mind. Not some politician trying to get elected to the Senate using abortion as a tactic to do it. Get off that. Get into the solutions of what's wrong with this country right now and stop finger pointing at little line items that have no business in politics. With that said, there's not a whole lot more to tell you about today. I've been monitoring what they're saying. There's not much to talk to you about, but if you're reading anything by The Atlantic, tear it up. I mean, these people, I don't know where they come from or what their agenda is, but boy, do they lie. Mainstream media, I tell you this all the time, turn them off, don't listen to them, because they're not going to tell you one iota of the truth about anything. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning into the Kaiser Report. And remember, we love you here. I'd love to have your comments and your likes and your subscriptions. The more subscriptions we get, the more content we can bring you. And we're almost getting ready to start at the end of February to get out and do some tours along with the news and bring you to several little towns across the Appalachian region, which I find either good for great food or great people. This is a wonderful area to live in. There's a lot to do. We have a series of lakes here that are wonderful. There's boating, there's fishing, there's hunting, there's everything, including great people, great food, and a lot of lessons to be learned, historical lessons that are true, not trying to change history here. We're trying to bring you back to a time in some of these small towns that remained that way. And hopefully we'll see you soon. So with that, I'm going to get on out of here.